Hey guys, welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing this now moment with myself and with one another. Um, if you haven't seen these videos before, welcome and welcome back if you have. I did take a little time off. I'm just doing 2 quick videos right in a row. A lot of the messages coming through for me are go back to the basics. So here I am. The message that I am going to type up from my blog, and I've got a lot of little blogs to start typing up, is to go back to the basics, because a lot of us were getting wrapped up, myself included, in galactic, and that's awesome. So the message I've been getting is a lot more ancestral, like ancestors, where it be Native American, Hawaiian, Native, ancestral, Aboriginal, all over the earth tones is what's coming through. And the message that came through, I'm just going right into it, guys. I'm in flow right now, and I'll go into a little bit more specifics. Go back to the basics. The first message is the heart. If you don't know how to get into the heart, do heart math. Go to heartmath.org. Watch my video on getting into the heart versus the head. Breathe. So I'm going to do a video about that a lot more frequently, because what happens is we as light workers have a tendency to get wrapped up into all of this, and myself included. And I was guided to do a lot of toning and frequency and all of that, and that's beautiful. And I have so many videos on that, but I've been guided to go in a little different direction. And that means staying in the flow. It means not getting stuck. It means recognizing when you are integrating or morphing into something else, and in love and light, and letting that shadow aspect go and not hanging on to it. It means recognizing that we can make a shift just like that. We don't have to go through hell in order to get to heaven, unless we choose to. Heart. We've already been there, done that. So what they're sharing with me is to just get people here first from now on, because a lot of people are just, in myself included, we have tendency to go into our head about things, and then it creates a lot of chaos. And taking a step back and getting back to the basics. Are we eating right? Are we drinking enough water? And it's not being tough on ourselves. If you had a bad day, don't beat yourself up. Breathe, right? Connect with the earth. So we're going to talk a little bit about galactic and talk about the earthbound train. So I'm always going to invite you to set your intention for this to be for the benevolence for all, in alignment with the highest levels of love, light, and benevolence for all only. That's all you let in, right? If you're tapping into other things, invite yourself not to. Invite yourself to tap into source energy through love, through the highest levels of benevolence for all. I am God, I am sovereign, I am free. And recognizing that we are here to hold space for ascension. It just feels good. If it doesn't feel good, maybe kind of stop, take a shift, and go for a swim. Get in the water. All right. Do some things that connect you back with Mother Earth. It's really important right now. And so as we go galactic, and as we connect in with our star brothers and sisters, we recognize that there is more than meets the eye. But we are asking from the ancestral lineages, connected fully and completely to Mother Earth, connected fully and completely to Source, connected fully and completely to our star brothers and sisters, to recognize that you are galactic in nature, anchored here now in this space of love and light. You came here to hold the frequency so that our other brothers and sisters could recognize what they truly were and tap into our fuller, expansive potential and lineages of one another. We came here to essentially recognize that we're from the stars, but it's not that we're going back to the stars in this lifetime necessarily. We have the potential to tap into all of that. We're being invited to trade the need to step outside of ourselves to go back within. And so when we see these outside influences or these outside distractions come into our field, so to speak, using the connection to the heart to reestablish our foundation of why we are embodied. We are embodied to come into this space to recognize the harmonics, to recognize coherence. We've already played out the games of the games. You guys know, whether it be strife, war, whatever, disharmony. So this is for those who want to step up and get out of that or are out of it already. That's what this message is all about. And so as you link up with your chain lineages of harmonics through the earth and your true establishments to Mother Nature in coherence. Coherence means 0 point. It means being established in the love oneness connection. I'm hearing, I'm just a love machine. So it's like this chain, DNA chain. It's a train. It's entrainment versus entrapment. It's recognizing that we're kind of, I'm seeing this picture of like people jumping on that, you know, where you get into that line and you're doing a dance and you hang on to the person in front of you and the person in front of you. And it creates this little fun dance line through the dance hall or the club or wherever you're at. And it's more about having fun. And that was a big message for me this whole month. Have fun, get out of your head. Recognize that when you come into this now space of receiving your birthright, which is you birthed here on earth. You are bringing forward so much joy if you choose to. Establishing these connections is key in recognizing your full potential if that is what you want. So if you want to recognize your full potential, recognize that you are here on earth first. And then establish those other connections. Recognize that you're a heart-centered being first. And then establish those other connections. And this is just a new, old way of looking at things. And so sometimes people do it the other way around, and that's okay too, guys. This is just one perspective that the ancestors are saying, hey guys, let's try this one out for a while. Let's try this shoe on and see how this fits. For as you come into these frequencies and these new lineups of these new portals and networking systems that connect in with Mother Earth Gaia, you are then able to anchor in the highest harmonics and the highest harmonious alignment that allows you to maximize your potential. And it allows us to kind of put one foot in front of the other with confidence and trust. I just worked with a beautiful light worker who was had this wonderful conversation just about trust. And it's trusting yourself. And if you don't, go back into the heart. Let go of everything else. Get back in touch with the earth. Go by a stream and some running water. Lay in the ocean. Cleanse. Let it all out. And reestablish your roots to here and to things that make you happy. Things that make you feel abundant. Things that make you feel joyful. If you don't feel those things, then that's not necessarily an environment for you to be in right now. Maybe it's down the road. Maybe it's not at all. Maybe it's something that you did not come here to experience or express. And so trusting in what feels good and appropriate for you in that moment is important. If it doesn't feel good, go and do something fun to kind of change that shift. And as we realign in these new patterns, we invite you to recognize that you are the masters that came here to create your reality. This was a little bit like my last message as well. Tuo aki e ano wa e au kuestishti amo kukua ashtiana. And all that is inorganic is being migrated, shifted to the organic, right? To the organic processes. We have a lot to remember from the ancestors. They held on to the earth, they planted, and they blessed the earth, and they recognized that the food comes from the earth, and they recognize that the water is a living molecule, and they recognize that the air is our brother and sister, and they recognize that the sun is our sustenance. And as we stand in this alignment, we recognize that it is not the machinery and the mechanics that are outside of us that is all we should be connecting with. We must get back to our roots. For if a flower disconnects itself from the earth, it cannot survive for very long because it is of the earth. What they're showing me is a lot of us have become disconnected with that and have just been searching outside of ourselves for answers. And it's feeling that resonance. As we recognize more of this potential, these roots being offered from these earth, these shoots, we then allow ourselves to recognize what we came here to do. So again, it's being in coherence. It's about being present with the breath, the body. What do I need right now? Am I thirsty? Drink water. Am I hungry? I'm going to eat, right? Recognizing, is there trash in front of me? Pick it up. Is there someone that needs help in the sense of money? Give it to them. Is there someone who needs food? Offer it to them. It's just little things like that. But also recognizing that it is not our responsibility to fully worry about them because it starts with us. So as long as we make the changes in ourselves, that will be reflected to us as well. And so we're being invited to tap back into that and recognize, again, do our own work. If we feel disconnected, start a garden. Go volunteer. It's getting back to the basics. Find those that maybe, and again, it's not about guilt. Oh, I need to help people because that's what I came here to do. I need to do Reiki because I'm supposed to be a healer. There's always going to be that sense of disconnect even in that work. Because again, it's not about you helping others. It's about you starting with you, me starting with me, and then moving out. And that person that you're helping, or people or group or collective, they are in need of their own empowerment. We are not here to save the world, so to speak. We are here to create our own unification with source and earth. And in doing that, it assists us then in spreading that energy that then allows us to anchor in more of that energy. So they're kind of showing me that that's a closed source system. If you think you're curing somebody else, or you think you are the answer to someone else's problems, that's closed source. Even though we are all one and we all are God, sovereign, free, if we choose to be, that doesn't mean that we aren't plugging into something more expansive than who we are in just this little piece, right? So again, coming from here, not ego, or habits or whatever. So as we train and we get on this train of training the mind to be led by the heart and being in the moment to moment, and recognizing that this momentum carries us forward into our next creation, and recognizing that this momentum allows us to stay on course in alignment with the stars, in alignment with our brothers and sisters, in alignment with our ancestors, in alignment with the earth, it brings this more fullness and less fractal, or not even that, less pieces. It allows us to incorporate all of that. So if we have a piece of us that doesn't feel good, because we're doing all of these other things, basic things that do make us feel good, that will then morph into something that does feel better, right? Or it will integrate into something that allows us to then shift our perspective, if that makes sense. Buy yourself some flowers, right? Plant some flowers, plant a tree. We're being invited, and some I hear like, okay, well, does that mean that means going outside of ourselves? No, it doesn't, because we're then connecting with Earth, which is part of us. We are the chemicals that are within Earth. We're the minerals or chemical bonds, right? We are all of the minerals that make up Earth. We are water, right? We need the sun, right? We are carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen as the basic building blocks of nature. Those carbon molecules are shifting into plasma, rainbow frequencies. That's a whole other video, but this is happening on the earth. So when we connect with these beautiful things in our field, we're allowing ourselves to connect with ourselves. When we're connecting with things we don't want, we're saying, oh, that's not what I want. That isn't me. That might have been me at another time. Thank you for sharing that with me. And aligning with more of what we want from here. So I'm going to end on that note. In love and light, you guys, I'm in flow. When I go into flow, what I'm being guided to share is it changes. So for those of you guys out there who are speaking light language, doing mudras, doing toning, doing chanting, that's awesome. For me, I'm still doing that, but I'm being guided to share more in English. And as I share it from a heart space, it's felt. If you guys have ever listened to other teachers out there, I subscribe on this YouTube channel to quite a few of them. You may not get what they're saying, but you can feel what they're saying. And so a lot of what I'm being guided to share right now is from that, rather than the sound and the tone and the harmonics. And I met this beautiful light worker yesterday who was talking about how she and I are on the same page, because we'll hear someone speaking and we know if it resonates with us or not because of the tone of their voice. It's not of their voice, it's in their voice. So we know when someone is being authentic, or when something is what we need to hear in that moment, or when it's something that we aren't really needing or that we aren't ready for, whatever it might be. So the more we can tap into that, it's part of our extra sensory abilities. Because if we're watching something over and over again and we're not resonating with it, it isn't necessarily, I wouldn't call it a waste of time, but it's not maybe where our focus should be. So you may want to watch these videos and then just give it a break for a while. You might want to listen to all of them. You might only want to listen to English and not light language. Pay attention to that. It's all part of what we're expanding into, so that we don't need someone to tell us what to listen to or who to listen to. We can just turn on our own radio and go, that doesn't feel right. I think I'm going to change the channel. And that goes for a lot of other things too. Not just what you listen to on YouTube or Facebook or television. Conversations. If you're a channeler, same thing. What are you tuning into? That isn't you necessarily, or an aspect that you need to tune into. Turn that channel off. You don't have to own it. And that's a boundary. It's okay to set those boundaries and to say no. In addition to that, it's the same thing with foods. If I'm in flow and I'm not in my head, I can pick something up and I feel whether I should eat it or not. Some people hear like a yes or a no. Now, that again, that isn't about being in your head and hearing voices, because that's out here. It's about hearing this. So you have to get to know, we all do, our oversoul, right? Or our little angel, little devil that sits on the shoulder, that are just representations of a holographic experience that we're choosing to tune into from one perspective. So not taking it so seriously, brush that little guy off, say thank you. I'm going to stick with my love and light right now because this feels good. It's okay to feel good. You don't have to suffer unless you want to. So guys, this is all one perspective that I'm offering. There's so many in love and light. Namaste. Thank you so much for tuning in.